I'm going to probably only go through about half of this presentation because it is designed to be longer. However, we will make sure to send it out. Claire will send it out after this. And then for those who are exploring fractional in particular, I've asked her to include a blog we have about that too. So don't worry, it's coming your way. But let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Can everyone see my screen and presentation? Yes, okay, I see heads nodding. Okay, great. So as Kit mentioned, we're going to talk about holiday job hunting. Contrary to popular belief and even what we've heard already, this is actually one of the best seasons to job hunt. So we'll go through as much as we can, hiring trends, some holiday networking, how you can volunteer, your LinkedIn profile, and if we get to it, success stories. Just a quick background on me for those who don't know me. I mentioned I was a CMO at a KKR company. I was a CEO of an organization I successfully sold. And then I have been a chief digital marketing officer for ADT. And then I was at Sears and Kmart back in the heyday and headed up their social and mobile marketing. I've been coaching for 25 years. I did my coaching curriculum at Harvard Business School in the late 90s and have worked with thousands of executive clients. Feel free to look at our media section if you'd like to look at, articles and podcasts I'm in. But let's get to what's about you. So holiday job hunting, 78% of companies plan to hire in Q4. You're going to see later on that postings only drop by 15%, yet the hiring decisions accelerate very quickly. And so now is the best time to holiday job hunt, obviously, but it is also the best time in general to do your job hunting. So there is a myth that hiring freezes happen during the holidays. And what I love about this is everyone on this call has been a hiring manager. So yes, sometimes hiring freezes happen, but typically one of two things happens. Either you have to spend it before you lose it and fill those jobs, or you really want the candidate ready to go and you do your interview for when your budget renews on January 3rd of this year. Because of the myth that there's hiring freezes and this is a slow season, your competition drops by 40% in the holidays. So decision-making for hiring goes up, competition goes down. It is a great time to land a job. If you think it's too late, apply anyway, and definitely start investing in the networking to build the relationships now for the things that turn into jobs in Q1. Again, sometimes it's a matter of interviewing the candidates now to make sure they're ready to hire come January 3rd. In terms of what to expect trend-wise in Q4, for those of you that are in tech, 42% of tech companies hire in December, again, to meet their Q1 goals. Now, these are executives that they're hiring. We don't mention the hiring boom in retail because typically that's frontline people, et cetera, and that's not who we work with, and that's not who you all are. Understanding the trends in your industry, though, should it be retail or tech or healthcare, which are three industries that really jump during the holiday season, you want to research your Q4 hiring trends specific to your industry. So sure, you're going to be in private equity, but what is your sub-industry within private equity, manufacturing, et cetera? Network at industry events that have those peaks in Q4. And if you see that they're not definitely hiring in Q4, position yourself as their 25 solution. In terms of networking, the holidays are the best time. So often the statistic 80 to 85% of jobs are filled through networking is stated and quoted. When it comes to senior executive jobs, the CFO, the C-suite is actually 90%. And the reason I always include this literally almost anytime I talk to a group is because people tend to think if I'm applying online or I'm spending a couple hours a day on the ladders, LinkedIn, wherever, I'm going to land something. And that's just not the case in the majority for senior executives. And there is a flip side. Networking is exhausting. It is frustrating. It is uncomfortable for most people. So when you're out networking, put your energy into it. But if you have one of those days where you're like, I just can't do it today, those are the 10% of the time that I always say focus on applying on LinkedIn or looking on job boards. In terms of networking during the holiday, try to get creative. This is the best time that you don't have to be like super formal about a job hunt. So holiday mixers, virtual events, host a holiday mixer or virtual event. Remember to plan ahead due to tight calendars. A good example of this, I have 2 clients of mine that are in the New Jersey area that are going to host a morning mix and mingle for their industries, mixing their 2 networks at a coffee shop. Doesn't need to be expensive. Mix your networks and expand your reach. Another one, I'm now here in Miami. We're doing a morning mix and mingle for women in Miami on Giving Tuesday, and we've partnered with a women's charity in Miami. So the other way is to partner with a charity. So if you want to do it in December, tell everyone, hey, coffee and bagels are on me. Bring a toy for Toys for Tots. Give them a secondary reason to attend, another reason than just networking. The other thing is when you have your personal brand, if you don't have a personal brand, you absolutely need one. I'm happy to do a talk on that. But talk about it with your family during gatherings over the holidays. Many of our family members don't know what we need in terms of job search, but they also don't know what we do. Now, I don't think you're going to get a job through your family, but what you are going to get is someone that says, what does that mean? Or, oh my gosh, I had no idea you did that. This is a great way to put your personal brand statement out there and get honest and transparent feedback about how it lands with someone who does not know what you do most of the time. The other thing I always say is get together with your neighbors, have them over for, gingerbread cocktails or a hot cocoa and s'mores, whatever works for you. But neighbors typically have contacts that are helpful because they live in a similar situation as you do, so they probably have similar level contacts. So socioeconomically, they're very similar, and that way your neighbors can help you. The other thing is we often don't talk about what we do with our neighbors. We talk about our kids, or like my kids out at college, I talk about that, etc. Again, on the charity point, a lot of organizations, charities, do their galas and balls in the fall and winter season strategically because people are more giving, 1, and 2, because it's right at the tax deduction season. So if you have the means and or the interest, attend these and use these as networking events. It's a tax deduction, you're supporting a worthy organization, and you're networking. It's a win-win-win. And lastly, please follow up with your new contacts promptly, ideally within 48 hours of initial meeting. So typically this prompts the question, okay, well, what if I meet someone at an event on a Friday night? Feel free to wait until Tuesday to send them an email. Why Tuesday? Because Mondays, everyone is bombarded. So Tuesday at 10 a.m. is the ideal time to follow up with them. Standing out in a slower job market, although December sees only 15% less postings, it also gets less applications. So in today's market, we see like 500, 700, 1,000 people applying for these jobs, right? Less people are going to apply in December. So again, your competition is down. Now is the time to get in there. If you want to apply online, which please don't, but if you do, first, use an ATS or applicant tracking system specific resume. Your what I call human resume that we all spend so much energy and time on is not going to make it through an ATS for several reasons. Next, do your best to network into that company, the one that posted the role, so you can share your quality resume with a real person. Always remember that people hire people. They are not hiring a computer. They're not hiring the ATS resume, which has got no formatting. Try and get to a person. Even if you don't know anyone there, network into their talent acquisition team. They're always excited to talk to candidates. Next, please remember to do cover letters when you do network in or when you do apply online. That's another blog. You're welcome to the website, Why Executives Can't Afford to Skip Cover Letters. We have exactly the 3 to 4 steps on how to write it. And then we include a prompt to let ChatGPT do it for you or your favorite AI tool. Make sure you are responsive. I'm going to use an example here personally of me. I was at a final stage interview for an executive job with AutoZone based out of Memphis in December of that year. It was December 22nd, I think. I was actually in the Memphis airport on the house hunting trip. I got a call from a company in Indianapolis that I had gotten a call from 3 other times, and I kept sending them to other people. And I said, let me think about it. And I hung up the phone, and the friend that was with me on the trip said, I mean, if you're going to consider Memphis, you might as well consider Indianapolis. So I did. I interviewed with them all day the 23rd, flew out to Indy, interviewed all day the 23rd, got an offer on the 27th from the Indy company, got the AutoZone offer on the 28th. I had been interviewing with AutoZone for almost 3 months. So that shows you how fast it moves during the holiday season. Not only did AutoZone move to decision, but the other company moved within 5 days. I chose Indiana. But it is amazing how fast this works. You've got to follow up very quickly. Job boards, again, if you're going to use them, please remember that you've got to stay on top of them. So job alerts, you get the freshest postings, of course, and you can customize them. It's also smart to set a Google alert for your target companies, because let's say they do a big press release or they release financials, right? That's a good reason to reach back out to someone or to initiate an outreach. Applying quickly if you're going to apply online is great. And make sure you personalize the top half of your resume. I think the stat is like, it's either 63 or 67% of the recruiters expect your resume to be personalized. So what's interesting is people are always like, I mean, how am I supposed to personalize every resume? Again, use an AI tool. Go into the AI tool and say, give me 10 keywords or phrases that are in this job description that are missing from my resume. Once you get those 10, then attach your resume and say, now update the top half of my resume to incorporate these 5 or these 7 of those 10. Boom, 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 it updates it, you copy and paste, and off you go. Also, you want to tune up your LinkedIn profile for the holidays. 95% of the recruiters on LinkedIn are looking for candidates. So this is where you want to be the most active. One of the things I didn't put on here, but please do, is verify yourself on LinkedIn. It's a little check mark next to your name. Super simple. It requires either your license or a clear membership if you have that. This is because the amount of bots that have taken over LinkedIn. So you get about 60% more visibility on your profile if you're verified. Make sure your headline says what you do, how you do it, and has some sort of accomplishment or result. And update your profile photo to be obviously professional and current. You want to be smiling and face forward. I think that this stat is like your profile is 14 times more likely to get attention if you're smiling, facing forward in your picture. Add recent projects or accomplishments. So if, for example, you've been out of your last company and now you are advising, if you're getting any compensation, make it a company name, put yourself as, like strategic financial advisor, and list some information. 2 caveats to this. If it is uncompensated, it is a volunteer opportunity and goes under volunteering. And never, 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 never lie. So don't make anything up. Whatever you do, don't lie on here. So if your job ended October 9th, yesterday of 2024, close that out as 2024 and then put whatever you're consulting on. However, if you are still on the payroll, not benefits, but on the payroll through the end of December, leave it as leave it as present. It looks like you're currently still in there because you are on the payroll. Then you would speak to the fact that you were out of the organization, but are still on payroll through the last 3 months, et cetera. And then this is the easiest time of the year. The rule on LinkedIn to increase your visibility is called the 411 golden rule. For every one post you put out, you should share 4 other pieces of content, and that makes the one perfect LinkedIn profile. So if I write a post about, hey, I had this great chat today with all these CFOs from the FANG group. If you're a CFO, you should join. And I post that, then the next thing I need to do is share 4 pieces of content, whether it's a piece of content from Dennis or James or Tom, or if it's from Forbes or Fox Business or from FANG, I need to share 4 other pieces of content. What you're doing is basically tripping the algorithm to say this person is a high quality person and we want to increase their visibility. So it increases your visibility in your network speed. Interview prep. 67% of recruiters say that a candidate's confidence is the key factor in hiring decisions. And so like you heard me say to Tom, talk to the points that you have when you're in those interviews as opposed to the playbook, right? Kit made a very good point. If you're, for anyone, if you're getting interviews but you're not getting offers, there is a very good chance it's something you're doing in the interview process. Not bad, just some conversation you're having. The flip side, if you're having great networking meetings, but you're not getting leads and you are getting a lot of advice, it's the way that you're presenting in that way. Go one step further. If you have a resume you're sending out, you're not getting any interviews, you're not getting any response, the likelihood is your resume or your LinkedIn profile needs to be revised. Always look at the connection there. So some actionable points. The process I use with clients, I always say it's not cookie cutter. No 2 executives are the same. I don't care if you're all PE CFOs, you all have unique situations. And so everything I do is personalized. The one thing I do with everyone is we first set your goal and make sure it's a SMART goal. Because if you are clear on your goal, you will become more confident and therefore you will become successful. Make sure you're focusing on your wins. Past successes, remind yourself of the value you bring, particularly if you're in a situation where you've been searching for 3, 6, 9 or more months, and you're starting to have that confidence question. Refresh your brand, revamp your LinkedIn profile, your resume, and your personal pitch. I would say probably of the over 6,000 resumes I've written in the last 12 months, at least 50% plus were already written by a professional when I took at them. If they're more than 2 pages, it's not going to get read. Point number 1. 2, if you don't have core competencies and a good summary, it's also not going to get through. You have 7.4 seconds to attract attention when someone is reading your resume. So ask yourself, what do I get in 7.4 seconds from this resume? Network with intent. Again, 85% of all positions are filled through networking, 90% at this senior level. Seek support, which FANG, the operators, working with an executive career coach like myself, just make sure you have a support system that can insert confidence and strategy. The one thing I will say is, like, bless our family and friends. They are not where you want to go right now, because they will typically say, you can do anything you put your mind to. I don't know why they didn't hire you. Of course, you're the perfect person. And while we need all of that to fill us up, that is not the strategy we need to make change. And then please practice self-care. This is really important, balancing things. Job searching can be very hard on your mental state and your mental health. So whether it's exercise or meditation, or you find a new hobby, find a way to keep yourself mentally healthy and physically healthy during this process. Next, what I love about interviewing during the holidays is a lot of times it's less formal and you can be a little more yourself. So many people get nervous in holidays. Oftentimes during the holiday, it is a more casual setting. They'll invite you over a cup of coffee. They'll invite you to a mixer. Your interviews become less stressed because people are less stressed for the most part during the holiday season. And so it is a more authentic experience. It is less formal, if you will. Although that does not mean you should not practice. Common questions are always going to be asked. Focus on the most recent and/or year-end achievements. So for example, if you're used to doing a calendar year that's also a fiscal year, focus on the fact of how you closed out last year, since we haven't finished this year yet, or how you would approach the books at the end of their fiscal year. Make sure you dress the part even for virtual interviews. I often get the question from men, I don't know what to do now. Do I wear a tie? Do I wear a sport coat? Do I wear a dress shirt? The common thread has been through all of my male clients, all of our feedback has been sport coat, dress shirt, no tie. My little tip for this is, if you can, men and women, incorporate the company's color somehow into your wardrobe. And that's because visually, we tend to hire people who look like us. So if I'm used to seeing blue all day long because I work at Be Bold and blue is one of our colors, when you come on camera and you have blue, my subconscious thinks, oh, he or she looks like me, they must fit. So it starts to answer that cultural fit question. Next, please show energy and positivity. People hire people they like, plain and simple. So if you come to an interview and you're really low energy, you're not likely to get the position. Now, that doesn't mean everyone has to be like super energetic and very outgoing. If you're an intrinsic person naturally, or what I call kind of humble hungry, that's fine. You can still show energy without being like really energetic, smiling, sitting up, things like that. The perfect holiday follow-up letter, only 20, the stat keeps changing, it's between 20 and 25% of people or candidates will send a thank you letter. Please always do this. This is the easiest way to get in the top 25% of candidates. And it's very easy to do. First of all, of course, ChatGPT can help you say, I had an interview with company X. This is the person I interviewed with. This is he or she's role. And here are 3 things we discussed. Can you write me a clear and concise thank you letter that inspires them to reach out to me for a next interview? Boom. Now, if you use ChatGPT, please put your human brain to it. It's still a computer. It's not going to give you something with your tone, etc. But always incorporate some holiday goodwill. Wishing you a happy and restful holiday season. Reaffirm your enthusiasm and excitement about the role and the company, and always make it specific to the job. A quick note here, not everyone celebrates Christmas. Some of us, like me, I celebrate Hanukkah. Some people celebrate Kwanzaa. So make sure you keep it to very generic holiday unless you know their religion and what they celebrate. We talked a little bit about how to avoid the job hunting blues. This stat is really important. The average executive job search lasts over 6 months. Back in like 99 to like maybe 2006, it was for every $10,000 you make, it's going to take a month. That is no longer the case, which is good because many of us would be out of work for a long time. So it lasts over 6 months. What I have seen in the last 12 to 18 months is it's typically taking between 7 and 12. If that's the case, again, remember the end goal, and this is the journey. You will get there, but set weekly job search goals. Just like you set OKRs or KPIs, etc. at work. In the office, set weekly job search goals for yourself. Take breaks to enjoy the holidays. Take the day after Thanksgiving off if that's traditionally something you enjoy celebrating with your family. One side of my family makes pizzas every day from scratch the day after Thanksgiving. So if you have these traditions, enjoy and celebrate them, but keep the momentum going, because those January post-holiday openings are coming. And the first thing they do is look at people that applied in November and December. And again, your applications are lower and your competition is lower. New year, new me. As you pop into January, hiring surges again by 20%. Because as we know, oftentimes budgets renew. So you get into January, it's January 3rd, you haven't landed. Somewhere in the later half of the first week of January or the first Tuesday, the second Tuesday in January, first Tuesday, I think is the 3rd, the second Tuesday, reach out to your contacts again. Reaffirm your interest in meeting with them, interviewing with them, accepting a position, etc. Spend your time the week over like the 24th through 26th of December when many people are celebrating. That's when you want to plan your follow-up strategy for January. And I think this is kind of the last part, is to leverage volunteering during the holiday for networking. So volunteering makes you more desirable 76% of the time to employers. It also makes us all feel good to give back. Participate in community events or online courses, how to serve on a board of directors effectively. Highlight your volunteering. Please include a community involvement section at the bottom of your resume on page 2, and in the volunteer section, fill that out on LinkedIn. Post photos from your volunteer experiences. These are feel-good posts that are super easy, very natural, and that can be your one post to the other 4 you share. And then, of course, you're going to build new relationships and be doing networking because these are shared causes that you're volunteering with. So definitely lean into volunteering over the holiday season. I will send this out, so I'll include some of this information, but 25% of the job seekers who actively job hunt in December will receive an offer by mid-January. So again, I just can't say it enough. Stay consistent with your search, stay consistent with your networking, get out there as much as you can and do everything you can to remain positive. Remember that timing is everything, right? It's not you, it's the position was not a fit or the company was not a fit. And some final thoughts. I created a small checklist here. So start with setting a clear and smart goal. Make sure you can articulate your personal brand clearly and confidently. Update your resume and LinkedIn profile. Network at those holiday events. Invest in an executive career coach. And of course, maintain a proactive and positive mindset. We have, particularly for Q4, we've created the Festive Focus Counselor for our current and new clients. It's a bi-weekly 1-hour meeting with all the other executive job searchers we're working with, specifically to increase your results in Q4. Besides having that kind of career coach on your side, it allows you to help have that accountability and consistency. You get feedback from a peer network, diverse perspectives, motivation, etc. It is completely complementary to all of our clients. So if you're interested in working with us or talking to us, I think Claire has popped the link in the chat. This is something we've just added on to really make sure people pop during the holiday season. So thank you. And I think we have 4 whole minutes. If anyone has questions and you want to raise your hand via Zoom, I'm happy to answer them. Wow. Have I just blown you away with everything I've shared? David, go ahead.
Yeah, I hope I'm not hogging again the space. First of all, everything is excellent and very, 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 very valuable. While I got you on the line there, this organization that I was working with also suggested, in addition to the website, doing a CRM of all your contacts and then sending out mass mailings to all of them, which kind of rubs me the wrong way. What I've been mostly doing is one-on-one contacting people by phone and or LinkedIn or by email, but one-on-one very sincerely. What do you think about this mass mailings?
So I'm going to answer 2 parts to that question. 1, a CRM is a great idea. The best CRM to use would be HubSpot. It is free. It will track your emails when they open them, if they've clicked on them, when they've responded, every time they open them, all the things, right? So yes, use a CRM. Please do not do mass emails. And here's one of the reasons. We all receive these, right? When we're senior executives, we get mass emails. You know it's a mass email. I don't care if you personalize it and put in the name field, right? 1. 2, it is so impersonal that the only thing I think is, oh, wow, such and such didn't take the time to think about anything about me. He or she is just speaking at me. Networking is about building relationships and adding value. So, for example, if you were to send out a holiday email, right, and it was going to recruiters, great. That you could maybe do a little bit of a mass email, like chunks of 25 maybe or 20 to geographically similar locations. So, for example, hope you're enjoying the end of the hurricane season and a lot of sun in Florida this year during this holiday season. Would love to connect. As you find new opportunities, I'm happy to share my network with you if I know someone that's a fit. I think you're talking to me directly because you're talking about my location. You've talked about the holidays. You've also asked to connect, but then you provided value. Happy to share my network if I have someone that will fit an opening you have. Great. You didn't send me an email saying, here's the value I offer. Here's my ideal organization. Here's some preview of my background or my bio. Would love to spend 15 minutes or 30 minutes on the phone for you to see if I'm a fit. You see the flip side of that? One is
Yes.
asking a lot, one is giving a lot.
Yes, 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 yes. I don't want to again be selfish here. I got one more, but if somebody else has got something, please raise your hand. Well, I didn't see anybody. So you mentioned, Adriana, in fact, yes, since my job finished up in July, I have been doing some consulting work. And this is a question I've not been able to get answered in my resume and on LinkedIn. Is it better? Yes, I am going to create very soon an LLC with a unique name. I think you said it, but just to confirm, is it better indeed to have the name of the consulting company that I created and then say managing director, CFO, consultant, as opposed to just plain vanilla CFO consultant?
Yes, it is. For a couple of reasons. One, I could be confused that you're just out there consulting and you're not looking for W-2. Two, and more so, I think, oh, he or she got fired and they're just using consultant as a word or a title to close the gap. So I started my career in recruiting before I moved into marketing. And even back in 96, when I started in recruiting, that's the first thing we would see. It's like someone would put consultant. We'd be like, they got fired. Like, it's just this mentality within the talent acquisition group. Three, a lot of us in this group face ageism, and that's also because a lot of the talent frontline is very young. So those screening your resume or originally screening your applications are in their early years, I will say, and they're less likely to reach out to someone that has not got immediate current results.
Right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Chris?
Yes, thank you, Adriana. I was interested in the contrast between giving and asking. Could you just go over that again? I thought that was very important.
Yeah, so there's oftentimes what I see is people that are job searching will send out an email, whether it's to request a meeting with a recruiter, an interview, or a networking request, and say, here's what I do, here's a bio, here's some recent accomplishments, I'd like to meet with you, et cetera, et cetera. That's asking a lot of me as the recipient. Okay, the flip side is, happy holiday season. I hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving and December's as bright as the lights outside. Would love to connect with you to find out if anyone in my network fits for any of your clients right now and see what might work for you. Always happy to be here as a resource.
Right.
For example. So there you're adding value.
Yep, got it. And just change it a little bit depending on your audience. So for CEO, love to learn about the challenges you're having and how it's somebody, might be able to refer you to somebody you may be able to help.
I would flip it to, you're in the right path, but oftentimes we get a lot of emails that say, want to hear what's your challenges, right? The words I use are, would love to hear what's keeping you up at night and how I can solve that for you.
Okay, excellent. Thanks very much.
Now, I'll just add one thing. I know we're a couple minutes over. I think we are, but don't be surprised what you hear back. So for example, Rick, I'll get to you. For example, one of the times I asked someone that, I said, what's keeping you up at night? It was in person live in an event in Chicago in like 2010. He said, my wife is keeping me up because we need to find a mason and I can't find one. And I said, okay. So I made a little note. Back then I had like notepads and real business cards. So I made a little note and reached out to my network and said, hey, does anyone have a mason that they know in this suburb of Chicago? And probably within maybe 10 or so days found one. And I sent him an email and said, hey, just, you know, here's a mason you can reach out to. He was like, how did you even remember that? That's amazing. So when you follow up and really do solve for that, now, I wasn't sure I was going to find someone, but you get different answers, right? That are more personal. Rick, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Adriana. And yeah, quickly, because like I know you said we're a little over, so I'll be brief. Just to maybe tag on to that last point that David was talking about a minute ago about the end dates of your job, specifically on LinkedIn. So I was laid off from my last position at the end of June, so still in the job search now. What's your recommendation on how to notate that on your LinkedIn?
Two things. One, I'd be happy to walk through your LinkedIn with you in a one-on-one, that complimentary session, so I can give you very specific advice. In a general sense, if you're still on the payroll through like the end of the year, like you have a separation that is payroll focused, not like a one lump sum, you can keep it as current or present, whichever it says, I forget. However, if you are off the payroll, you close it out as of 2024. For any of you doing a resume, no months. No one uses months. Resumes and LinkedIn, no months, just the years. You close it out as 2024 and then put something that you're doing currently. Here's a good example. Like if you are advising for Thing, or you are advising for the operators, strategic advisor, give the organization and put one line about it. Basically tells me, as someone who's looking at your profile, oh, he or she is doing something, maybe they decided to take a break, or maybe they rolled into this. It also gives you the opportunity to shape the story of why you're making a transition.
Great. Thank you.
Well, thank you everyone for attending. Thanks for staying over. I don't want to command any more time from anyone, but again, I'm happy to meet with you one-on-one and do a working session. And whether it's diving into your LinkedIn profile, or whether it's diving into your resume or giving you interview tips, whatever works for you, feel free to schedule that. Would love to talk to each one of you, and thank you for the time today.